Hey guys, welcome to the Philippine Info channel. Today we have a special about a checklist to get ready to prepare yourself to come to the Philippines. And be sure to like and subscribe, guys. And please check out our other videos on these subjects. Now I have a lot to cover here. I got like almost three pages here, and Justin's here to help me with this and give his comments on things here. So between the two of us, we have a lot to cover. And after we're done with this, please leave anything inside the comment sections, or you can email me, hey Steve, can you add this here for part 2? And we'll do a part 2 if we have to, okay, of this here. But today I want to cover on what you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need, which I always tell people, is the whiteboard or notebook. Because on this here, we have so much to cover here that everybody's going to be different. Some people aren't going to need some of these things, and some people are, okay? And some people are going to need more things, and we'll cover that in a later video if we have to. But I was thinking about doing a checklist, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to do a checklist, I'm going to do a video about doing your checklist, because your checklist is obviously going to be different. So I want to touch on this. So get a whiteboard or a notebook, and I tell people get a big whiteboard, put everything up there with a check off thing, and you'll be all set. So that's number 1. And number 2 is figure out your death plans, and when you get here, contact an attorney and give someone the authority to deal with your body in a way, meaning finances, in legal documents to do it. Write a document with your phone numbers and contacts and what to do. And remember, it costs $10,000 to $20,000 US to ship a body. And I'm sure Justin wants to make some comments on this one too.
Yeah, that's my plan. I've got a family grave, already have my grave, my headstone carved. So when I die, I'll be sent back to the US, and if it's 20,000, it's 20,000, but that's not a big deal at that point. But I gotta, before I came, I let people know in the U.S. what my plans are, and now they have Steve's contact, but then Steve also has their contact information if I end up in a hospital or anything like that. But then you've got, Philippines likes paperwork, so you've got to have written authorization. Go to a lawyer, definitely. Get it set up, and then when you die, your friend here can take care of getting money from your bank account to pay the hospital bill, because the hospital will not release your body unless the hospital bill is paid, and so you're just going to decompose on the morgue table.
Definitely. And like with me, I did my plans. I bought two graves already, and my girlfriend already knows what to do. So you have to have that plan already set up, because a lot of guys, they just don't care. And we've talked about that in the past, as you guys know, and you guys can watch that video. But let me get into the third thing here. The third thing is get a smart globe SIM on eBay before you even leave with a load card. Now this may end or change later on, sooner or later, because the way they want people to turn their info in, you have to register these SIM cards soon. And the Philippines is going to be doing that very, very soon. So you might not be able to get a SIM card very soon, because you're going to have to register it. And also, guys, you want to make sure that when you go to register that, you may have to go onto a app or something, and you're probably going to have a VPN on your phone to do this here, because it's going to ask you possibly for a passport or a license or something like that later on. And that's going to happen. It is going to happen. So I want you guys to be ready to have the VPN on there, because the VPN, you're going to have to put it in Manila when you download that app. And then you're going to have to put that you're in Manila to put all your information on that app probably. Okay, so just be ready for that.
And with the SIM card, I got mine off eBay, $12. With that, I got the SIM card. I've got a Philippine phone number before I even showed up here. And I got some load. And with it's Smart and Globe are the two main. Smart, it's a GigaLife app, and you can download that with set your VPN to Manila.
I'm not sure what Globe is, but I'm sure if you type in Globe in the search on the Manila, when you have the VPN hooked up to Manila, just put in Globe, and it'll probably send you to like the Globe app for that too. I'm not sure which one it is. Somebody might leave it in the comments or whatever. Also, number 4, download phone apps and VPN to Manila or Philippines. Remember, some apps are country sensitive, and that's what we're talking about right now. Like I said, if you use the Smart app or whatever, or any certain apps are very country sensitive. So when you load these things on, you might have to go to Manila to find it. You might have to go to the U.S. When you do a Western Union app, it's country sensitive, and by that I mean if you download a Western Union app in the Philippines, it's going to be from the Philippines. You want the U.S. one to and it'll be cheaper to send money here. Okay, you want the U.S. one, so you want to do that while you're in the U.S. or turn on your U.S. VPN. That's very key and important over here. Okay, did you want to comment on that?
No.
Okay, and then put Magic App or Magic Jack on your cell phone. Okay, while in the U.S. You can also port your U.S. number when you get rid of your phone number, your cell number, or whatever. You can port it over to the Magic Jack or Magic App. Magic App is the same as Magic Jack, except it's on your cell phone. Once you download that app, you can sign up monthly or whatever, and it has all the information on there. Magic Jack also gives you the free app, okay? And I signed up for like about 4 or 5 years or something like that, and I've always had luck with that. You can almost use it all you want. They don't bother you about it. You know, it's really, really nice to have, and I enjoy having it because it rings me over here when somebody calls me, and I can ring somebody over in the United States. Also, you can buy international minutes to talk to other people in the world. So,
and with Magic Jack and also your ways to send money, whether it's Remitly, Western Union, whatever, test them in the U.S. Use Western Union once you open an account to send it to yourself. Test the Magic Jack, make calls and receive calls in the U.S. before you come here.
Definitely check it to make sure everything's working okay. Okay, number 6, set up 3 ways to get money from accounts. Okay, these are important. Number 1, Remitly, Western Union, and other financial apps are all decent. Okay, number 2, tell your bank you will be traveling and you'll need access to ATM use. Don't say you are moving. That's key, okay? You want to make sure your ATM, also your credit cards, to make sure you have PIN numbers for your credit cards that you can use that for emergencies or what have you. But just make sure you have all that stuff set up. And also, let's see, number 3, make sure you have your power of attorney for major emergencies. And make sure you have, like I said, with your ATM, you want to have that all ready and done. Make sure you tell the bank that you will be traveling and you need access to ATM use and also your credit cards or whatever.
And with your ATM cards, credit cards, even driver's license, try to extend them out as many years as you can. So if you get over here, they're not expiring within a year or two.
Sometimes you can have your credit cards extended that you just tell them, say, listen, I'd like to have it extended. I'm going to be traveling a little bit. Do not say you are moving here because they'll cancel your credit card. So, so be careful about that because a lot of people do that and then all of a sudden you find out later that they're going to cancel. Some of these places will cancel you and some of the banks will too. Credit unions run under different laws and rules and regulations, so be aware of that. Credit unions are better than banks in most cases.
Yeah, the State Department?
Yeah, State Department. Well, we can talk about that later because.
All right.
But State Department Federal Credit Union is a good choice for that. Okay, so you may want to look into State Department Federal Credit Union. You do have to pay $70 or something, and I do think you have to be over here to open that. Okay, but we'll touch on that again. Number 7, open up a credit union account for S. Here we go. Okay.
I got ahead.
He got a little bit ahead of me. Okay, State Department Federal Credit Union. Okay, so that was the next one up. So, but anyway, number 8, open up a good VPN like Tunnel Bear. And there's other VPNs. It doesn't have to be Tunnel Bear. I like Tunnel Bear because it's almost like it's very simple. It's so easy to use. It's ridiculous. You just touch the country you wanna go to, and it tunnels you to that country with the VPN. It shows the bear tunneling down and popping up in the United States or Canada or wherever you may be. Okay.
I use ExpressVPN. It's the most expensive. Start out $100 for the first year, but then I do the 5-year plan, so it's like $40 or $50 a year.
And then we got number 9. Get a passport and passport ID card. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, but the passport ID card is important for you to use as an ID and getting into the embassy if you lose your passport. Don't carry them together. Do not put your passport ID in the same case as your as your passport, okay? And the passport ID, like I said, it's great because they know you're a American citizen. If you lose your passport and you walk in there with that, at least it'll get you home.
And with the passport and the passport ID card, they're good. 10 years is how long they're good for. You do not have to wait until the last year or 2 years to renew them. You can renew them at any time. Even as soon as you get new ones, you can turn around and apply and get new ones. So if you have time and you have like 4 or 5 years left, and if you want to reset to 10 years, you're just spending the cost of the new passport and new passport card. But if you're coming over here, you might want to think about getting it.
So it's fresh and new when you get 10 years on it, yeah. But the ID, even though, I want to explain this because a lot of guys say, well, hey, Steve, it's only good for coming in from, going back and forth between Canada, Mexico, and sailing and the Caribbean nations and stuff like that. But in reality, it's good for an ID to get into a embassy or whatever. It's good for using as an ID. You show that ID, usually people don't have any problem accepting that. And make sure you have other IDs too. When you get here, apply for all the IDs you can get over here. All of them, both, whether it be a barangay ID all the way up into your postal ID, and then you can get the national ID if you're a SRRV holder. But they're not allowing that yet, but they will in the future. Okay. And we've got number 10. If doing the SRRV retirement visa, make sure everything is done in apostille before leaving. Make sure you bring crisp $100 bills with you with no marks. The apostilles are done by the state secretary's office and also by the State Department for most federal documents. But most states will do federal documents. I want that clear. You need to go to your state secretary's office, and we're also going to talk about this in the next one also about if you get married. And I'll just do it now. Number 11, if getting married, both birth certificates and official divorce papers should all be apostilled. Okay, and
I called my Secretary of State in Little Rock. They said they don't apostille any document they don't produce. That wasn't right. When I went to my local office in Northwest Arkansas, she said, yeah, we'll apostille anything. And she did it within an hour or two for $10 or $20. So if you get told no, go check with someone else, with the Secretary of State.
Yeah, because we've had like 2 states that were giving us heavy problems, and then I'm hearing now that they're doing them. So it's almost like all 50 states, and because what they're doing is they're apostilling the affidavit. Basically, they're not apostilling the actual document. Some people get that confused because you're putting an affidavit on there, and you need that affidavit apostille. It's a true attest copy or whatever. They'll give you a thing to slap on the front usually. Isn't that what they do with yours? Yeah. And then what they do is they apostille with like a brass thing to hold it all together. Do not ever rip those apart, okay? So that's key. Number 12, if getting a motorcycle endorsement on your license, you should get it in the U.S. first because it's easier to get it here later, okay? And I think that he's gone through this. He can pretty much talk about that a little.
They just transfer it. You show up with a U.S. license with a motorcycle endorsement. They look at it. You get to keep your U.S. license. You get the Philippine one. But here, if you start from scratch, there's the classes and testing and just a lot more cost.
It makes it much harder. And we got a little bit of rain going on in the background. You guys might be picking that up a little bit on the speaker, but sorry about that, guys. Let's see. Number 13, bring plenty of clothes if you are large. I myself, even though I'm a 2X back home, I'm like a 4X over here, and it's very hard to find unless you go to like Maxwear at SM stores. Bring long pants and a collared shirt and shoes when going into most government buildings. You need those in order to get into government buildings here, because otherwise you will not be allowed in most cases.
That's the Bureau of Immigration, the Philippine Retirement, the LTO for your driver's license. You cannot wear shorts or flip-flops.
It depends on which office, but some are pickier than others. I can get into like the PRA with shorts and they don't really bother me, but some of the other offices, yes, it's very difficult. Number 14, don't bring narcotics into the Philippines. That might be a no-brainer for some, but actually some people try bringing things in like that. You can get into big trouble. You do not want to bring in anything that you don't know if you know it's, you need to check to see if you can get it in here or not. If you can't find it on any list or anything, you can try to call them, but it's very hard to get in touch with people in the Philippines, and you will find that out. It's best to just leave them home and see what you can get over here, because the biggest thing over here that you can get probably is tramadol for pain. And if you go to, somebody told me if you go to a pain doctor, you might be able to get more. I haven't tried that. I don't know anybody that has yet. You might be able to get something stronger, but something. Just be careful. If you've got a lot of pain in your body and you want to have good meds, it might be worth it to consider about coming over here and possibly staying home, because you're not going to get a lot in pain meds over here.
As foreigners, we cannot have any weapons, including a pocket knife.
Yes. Okay, so number 15, bring constipation and diarrhea pills. And the diarrhea pills really come in handy over here, trust me, because you will, when you first get here, for the first six months to a year or even longer, I've been here 5 years and I still suffer with this issue, is you pick up germs and it causes diarrhea, and and it can cause constipation too, some of the issues over here, because you get dehydrated or whatever. Let's see, number 16, check with a doctor on vaccines you might want. This is important. A lot of guys write to me saying, hey Steve, what vaccines should I get? This is the thing between you and your doctor, because your health issues might dictate what vaccines you might need. So,
and some diseases are more prevalent here, Hep A, B, whatever. They're a little bit more prevalent than in the U.S. So actually I renewed a lot of vaccines, because they were saying they weren't sure if they were good for life or not at this point. And I didn't want to mess around with just doing the titers to see my levels. And some of them, they don't have tests for them. So I just went ahead and got some.
Also, guys, you need number 17, an onward or throwaway ticket to leave, like the 29th or 30th day, preferably to Singapore due to price. You need to be show them that you're leaving within like 29 to 30 days later. Okay, that's key and important. Very, very important. We're getting a lot of rain here now, guys, but just be aware of that. That you want to make sure that you're prepared for that, because a lot of people say, well, they never check. Well, they know. They can just type in your passport number. It'll show that other ticket. So don't think that you can get past that. I'm sure people have, but it's not worth it, because you're going to pay more. The ticket will be more expensive if you try to buy it on that day or whatever, when you have to go over to the counter and get a ticket or whatever. Okay? You going to use?
No.
Number 18. 110 220 adapter is not a transformer. Keep that in mind. A lot of people think that it'll be okay if I have that plug and it transfers the plug over. No, it'll still give the 220 juice going into a 110 item. Okay, you need a transformer for that, for some items. So be aware that some items already have it. Most laptop computers have it, and a lot of other things in phones. Also, you need to do research on the items you bring. Okay.
I mean, it's like cell phones and laptops are made to go around the world, so usually they can do both. But like razors, radios, anything like that, yeah, you gotta check and see if it's only 110. And like at Walmart in the US, they sell the adapter. It just changes the configuration of the plugs. Yeah. It doesn't change the power unless it's a transformer.
It'll fry your whatever you're trying to use. In some cases, I have a radio up here. It's a 110 radio. It's strictly 110. So you don't want to. And that's a really good radio. It's an expensive Tivoli radio, and I always have the transformer on that one.
And around here, the electricity has voltage spikes or
up and
irregular.
Down.
My transformer goes into a clean sine wave, so I can use for electronics like the laptop. So it cleans up the electricity a little bit.
Also, let's see, number 19, ship items ahead of what's called Balik Mayan box. You should send it 3 to 4 months in advance and find a shipping company. You should have an address over here of a friend, or make a friend or whatever, and have it shipped to them. You can have it shipped and they will hold it for you or whatever, and all your stuff. Or you can have somebody ship to you when you get over here, but it's going to take 3 to 4 months, and that's another way of doing it, so you can ship it directly to your address if you want to, and they will ship it right to your house with the Balik Mayan boxes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can usually look them up online, but a lot of times they'll say like Atlas Shippers or a moving company. it's better to go with one of the Balikbayan companies.
Yeah.
And you'll find them at big cities, but also if there's like a Philippine restaurant or a food store, like there's one in Springfield, Missouri, and they receive boxes, send them to Kansas City, put them on a rail car to LA, and then on a ship. If you're coming here for an SRV, you've actually got $7,500 worth of items you can ship without having the customs duty on it. So if you're coming here and then later going to ship other things in Balikbayan, have them ready to go before you leave the U.S. Now, Balikbayan, there's no customs fees. You're limited to the size of the box, and they say unlimited weight, but really they want to be able to pick them up and move them.
And if you're gonna use that break on the customs fees, you want to make sure you talk to Mary Rose, or whatever. If you're working with one of the agencies or you're working with the PRA or whatever, you want to make sure you get that, all okayed with them, and make sure that everything's all set with that. Also, number 20, personal belongings, wills, phone numbers, insurance, health insurance, cars, registrations, and licenses all need to be looked at. You need to figure a lot of this stuff out. A lot of stuff I've talked about in the past. You can go through myself. Some of the stuff we're already going through on this here already. Health insurance, you want to make sure you talk to somebody even before you get over here. We have Michael Onstad. He's one of our people. You can look for his information on my last video about health insurance. Michael is really good to work with. You want to make sure that all this stuff is taken care of. There's a lot of stuff to take care of. Your cars, selling your cars, your registrations, and make sure your car insurance, that they have a place to send your refund to, because sometimes you have refunds. Some of the stuff, your wills back home will pretty much be no good here. You need to do one when you get here. So you're going to need an attorney when you get here, and you should be doing all that stuff, the stuff for when you die and all that stuff. Licenses, make sure you get those, like he was saying earlier. You might want to go in there and see if you can get it extended, as long as, if it's already, like, if they do it for 5 years, tell them, look, can I restart mine? I'm going to be out of the country for a while, and I'm going to be going in and out, and I'm not really going to have much time. Can I update this? Can I get it, the same with, like he said about the credit cards and ATM cards. You want to do that. You want to check with that and see if you can. Some places will let you, some places won't.
And then, like, if you have current health insurance through a corporation or something like that, you got to see, once you leave the country, where you can use it and what it covers. It may be different than if you're living in the U.S.
Yeah, because it's some things are not going to be worth bringing over here. If you're going to stay here and live here and stay here forever, Medicare and health insurance that you have back home might not work over here. You want to make sure that you double check on that, you do your homework on it. Most Medicare coverage does not cover you over here. If it'll cover you for like 6 months or something. There are some things that might cover a little bit longer, but be aware of that, because you want to make sure. There's a lot of homework involved with it. Let me tell you, because I've looked it up before, and there's a lot of stuff involved with that. And you want to do your own research. Make sure you check into this stuff, because when you come over here, some of that stuff you can use for your insurance and put it towards your Philippine insurance, and it'll go a lot further than what you pay into your Medicare and everything.
And with your whiteboard or your notebook, the list you're making, keep adding to your list. I was adding things every week.
Yes.
But when I got something done, crossed it off, erased it off the whiteboard, so that way you're keeping up to date. You can look, see what you need to do, because some things, like getting a $100 bill, sometimes you can't get ones that haven't been folded. You want ones that have never been folded, no torn or bent corners, no marks. It takes you a little time to gather up, depending on if you want to bring a large amount, small amount, whatever. Just same thing of getting rid of stuff, yard sale, selling, takes some time, but list everything out, keep track of it, cross it off, and keep adding more to it.
It's important to do that, because when I was doing my whiteboard, guys, what happened was every day, and I usually carried a little notepad in my pocket while I was at work at both my jobs, and I was working 2 jobs, and it gave me a lot of time to think of stuff that I needed to do. And I was always adding stuff on it, and I would go home at night, and sometimes I was getting home at 12 midnight, and I'd be writing that stuff up on the board at 12 midnight. It's important to put that stuff up there, because you're going to think of things oh man, I forgot about this. I have a dog. I have to get. Am I going to take the dog with me? That's one thing. Like I don't have a dog, but I mean, for you, it might be something. Or my cat. I have to take my cat. Or wait a minute, I have a computer. What do I do about my computer? Oh, wait a minute, I could put that on one of those little, discs, those things that you plug into your computer, whatever, and download it over here or whatever. You can do all that stuff. But you may want to ship your computer over here. Maybe it's fairly new or whatever. These are all things you have to consider when you come over here. There's a lot on your mind that you have to really, trust me, as you get closer, you're going to think of these things. I started doing my list 4 years before. 4 years.
With electronics, you will pay more for like a laptop here than there. So some guys bring us an extra one. You start bringing too much, and then customs look at it and go, this isn't for personal use. So it's that kind of balance of figuring out what you need, what's available here, whether electronics or clothes, kind of get an idea of the availability, because a lot of things are out of stock, the cost, and then deciding, do you have the room to bring it with you?
Yeah, it's hard taking a lot of stuff, through the airlines. So ballot buy-in boxes is a way to ship that stuff too. We'll get into number 21 here. Let credit cards know you are traveling and keep a U.S. address. When you tell them that you're traveling, do not tell them that you're moving, because all the credit cards will cancel you if you say you're going to have a Philippine address. Even though you're a U.S. citizen, a lot of people think, well, geez, I'm an American citizen, so I'm still going to have like a credit thing back home, and well, you need to make sure you have a U.S. address, whether it be your sister's address or something like that. And be careful using these companies back there, because these companies, what happens is they get listed on these security things at these banks, and it pops up in there. Okay, this guy here, we got 50, 60 people that are at this one address, so we know that that's an address that people are using because they're living outside the country. The banks know. The banks know. If you have a credit union, you're okay, in most cases. But even with the credit union, still be careful, because those laws can change. But State Department Federal Credit Union caters to expats. I want to state that. They cater to expats.
With me, I still maintain a home in Arkansas. I go back and forth, driver's license, voting, everything there. So I'm a resident in the U.S. and here, just part-time, both back and forth. So I'm okay right now. It's when and if I ever go full-time here, then I'll run into these problems. But I've got the advantage, rather than coming over here and having to deal with getting cut off, I'm going back enough to maintain my residence there.
Okay, number 22, do mail arrangements. By that I mean use a sister's address, a brother's address, somebody back home, maybe your children's address, somebody that you trust, maybe your power of attorney. If anything, it should be your power of attorney in most cases. In my case, I have 3 powers of attorney. Okay, so if something happens and one's incapacitated, I can use another. So, make sure that you do that, and make sure your bank has those power of attorneys, your insurance companies, whoever that they're going to be dealing with. Okay, we're getting a lot more rain here, guys. Number 23, make arrangements of where to stay on arrival and travel plans onward to your destination. That's key. When you get here, you want to have everything all ready to go. Well, we're getting some heavy rain here now.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're almost here at the end here. Be sure to comment, guys, and have anything comment on anything we've missed for a follow-up video, guys. But anyway,
make sure you like and subscribe also.
Definitely, guys. God bless, guys. Take care. We will do a follow-up video if needed. So if you leave a lot of comments and questions, or Steve, cover this or cover that, we will cover it. God bless, guys. Take care.